Welcome, race fans, to episode 10 of Area 51 Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby. We got my co-host, Rob. We got Steve Carnes from First Pacific Funding. How we doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Rob, how you doing today?
Good. How about you, Bobby?
Doing good. Braving out these storms.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Good, man. It's
That's good.
getting ready for Vegas, so we're ready to get Nancy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since you brought up Vegas, you want to tell us about the paint scheme, and we've seen it on social media.
Yeah, we're just going with our traditional blue and gold and white, just our company colors this week. Texas, we kind of do it up, kind of more geared towards that Texas vibe, but we're just sticking with our traditional scheme this week. So hopefully it brings us good luck and we keep this momentum going.
So, can you tell us about yourself and your job at First Pacific Funding?
Yeah, so I am the president of sales and marketing for the company, and as well as wear a few different hats, but primarily just try to, you know, market the company as best I could through all of our traditional ways. So we have 14 locations around the country, and primarily just do commercial equipment financing, whether it's vehicles, equipment, anything commercial related. So we provide the lending for that. Work with over 200 dealers, and handle the financing side of their business. So, and then on top of that, try to do what I can to keep us on the side of the car several times a year. That we seem to have the most fun with that out of everything. So
Yeah, you want to tell us about about how you got into uh, being in with Jeremy, and obviously we see the fire suits behind you.
yeah, so I've been talking to Jeremy since probably 2017 through social media, just cutting up back and forth over the years. And then 2019, really started having more in-depth talks with Jeremy about, an opportunity at some point. And then it all came to fruition during COVID at Kentucky Speedway, which is about an hour from me. And finally got all the numbers worked out and then did the double header. I don't know if you remember, but there was a double header at Kentucky because a lot of the states wouldn't even host races. So NASCAR had to make do and do what they could to the tracks that would host a race, maybe do a double header. And that was the case for that race. So we did a Friday race and then we did a Saturday race. Fortunately, the car didn't get tore up at all, so we just put a cover on it and raced it the next day too. So it was an interesting race because the way they did the starting lineups was the finisher of the race on the first day, the top 16, they inverted the field. So Jeremy finished 12th the first race, which meant it put him fourth for the Saturday race. And it was just kind of wild because I don't remember what happened to the cars in front, but here, 3 or 4 laps in, Jeremy's leading the race, and I'm like, well, damn, this is pretty cool. Didn't expect this to get this much TV time right out of the gate, but yeah, it was really cool. We had a lot of fun, and yeah, it just worked out because I was able to sit on the pit box during those races. I had to go through quite an extensive process to do that because they wouldn't let just anyone into the race. You had to actually be on the crew roster. So I had to go through numerous amount of tests and paperwork to get that all to fly with NASCAR. So we finally got that done and was able to sit on the box during the race. I think I even held the pit board for one of the races. So it was a pretty cool experience being our first weekend on a car.
I will definitely say I miss Kentucky. I wish they'd bring it back.
Yeah, I mean the old car, the Gen 6, just all that old, it just didn't put on a good race. It really never put on a good race for a good portion of its existence. But I just feel with this new car, you look at tracks that normally haven't been good are now racing much better. Kentucky was a really flat track, which kind of really hurt all the way around because it high speed flat corners just a lot of times doesn't make for great racing. So it'd be interesting to see if they did now, but it's more of just a Amazon parking lot and a Ford F-150 parking lot now over there. It's crazy. Yeah.
So you, being in the finance business and a marketing person with First Pacific Funding, the company company's involvement with Jeremy and his team, what would I know you do a bunch of the like getting partners and sponsors to come on board and help out Jeremy. So what is your pitch to them to get them to come on board and like their investment, what would they get in return, being he's a small independently owned team, and like you said, your first race you were already on TV when he was leading the race.
Yeah, I think that what I do is I use our experience of the past 4 years in helping sell to others because I've lived it for 4 years. I've seen the pros, so I'm able to relate that to people who I initially talked to. You just have to find that right decision maker for these companies that you hope like NASCAR. If they don't like NASCAR, you're pretty much just on to the next because you've got to have some kind of familiarization with the sport, just like racing. So that's usually my feeler questions right out of the gate, or do you like racing and all that, and then find out the markets they're in, to see where a good opportunity would be for them. And then I just kind of go off my past and just explain, here's what we've done, the benefits for us. It's a great day to bring 10, 12 guests for your company out to a race, make a race day experience, enjoy the pit box, the up close, pit stops, things of that nature, get your pictures with the car, and the best part is just seeing your company on the side of a major sporting series. And then with that marketing, you can market it up the week or two before. So it's a process that, I really try to work out with each an individual partner and really try to, if anything, over communicate with them just to let them know, here's the best way about doing this. Here's your contacts for hats, shirts, have everything ready so that race week, you and your crew are ready to go. So it's been something that I've enjoyed doing. I think it was probably about 3 years ago where I told Jeremy, I know you wear enough hats. You're a driver, you're an owner, you're a travel agent, you're a bookkeeper. You've got all these hats. I said, I work at a desk all day and I have plenty of contacts. I said, I can try to handle that sponsorship side for you. And he was like, hell yeah, man, go for it. So I'd probably say overall, I've probably tried to bring at least close to 20 new companies to the car in the past 4 years, in some form or fashion level of sponsorship. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the hell out of it. I enjoy challenges and it's been a good one for me. So it's always nice to be able to text Jeremy and say, hey, just got an associate for this race or that race. So it's worked out really good and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So yeah.
Yeah, you're doing an awesome job because, right before 2024 was sold out, he announced it several weeks before the season started this year. And not even like during the NASCAR broadcast, a lot of the broadcast people even mentioned that, oh, Jeremy Clements has already got all his sponsors sold out for the year.
Yeah.
That's really impressive, and that's kudos to you. And on what you're doing, and then also what Jeremy and his team are doing, representing those partners and companies.
Yeah, we've got a solid partner base of probably 10 companies that right there at the end of the year, when as soon as the schedule is announced, I mean, I'm like an hour after it, I was already had the sheet empty, the new sheet for 24 empty, and started getting with everybody. But I mean, the primary sponsorships are pretty easy at this point because we do have that solid core of 10 companies or so. So it's just really a feel for all of us to, to kind of feel out what races do you want to do? What are you feeling? We've got, a lot of the guys are pretty dead set in the races that they do every single year. Like our races have been the same for the past few years because it works best for our company. Whereas, we've got a lot of other companies that are based in the Southeast, that Georgia's good for some, and Daytona, and then we've got a couple companies that have come on recently that enjoy more of the West Coast feel. So, I mean, you couldn't create a better group of people that we have. And I know guys have mentioned it on your shows before that it's truly like just one big family. We're always conversating and meeting up during race weeks. So it's been a lot of fun. Gained a lot of new friendships throughout this whole process. And it doesn't hurt that it's just based on racing, which is my livelihood. So this whole past few years has been a lot of fun to just put this all together as best I can on my end, but just see, it's like that perfect cake where all the ingredients just come right together, and it makes something really good. By the start of the year, everything is in place. That stress is off Jeremy for the most part, because I know for years that has been the main concern. So that was my main thing with him, was just taking that off his plate. And so he can focus basically none of the sponsorship side. I mean, the primaries were locked in 2 weeks in. So now I'm just trying to fill 33 races of quarter panels and rocker panels. So, yeah.
So that the follow up on that was something interesting, like at the Road America race, like that banner that Bobby has next to him there. All those sponsors that were on the car that Rob from Whitetail Smokeless had, they're all Wisconsin companies.
Yeah.
I mean, so like you were talking about geographically, what's best for the companies that are on the car and stuff. I mean, that's just cool to see. You don't, like Justin Sharpie from Driftless Gun was mentioning that how many other drivers on the track would have in a Wisconsin race, all Wisconsin based small companies. I mean, right. It's just really cool. And that's a testament to how big of widespread, reach that Jeremy has with his team, and then obviously you and the other people that are sponsors and help him get the sponsorship. It's just amazing for a small team that's independently owned to be able to compete with the bigger teams to get that dollar, that investment by those companies to his team.
Yeah, and at the end of the weekend, when you see them all with smiles on their faces and ultimately had a good time, I mean, that's all you can ask for. Mission accomplished. So, but that's the main goal. Is geographics is everything. So, each and every race you look at the companies that I have in my contacts, and you just try to just offer them a scenario that's budget wise good for them. And just see if there's an opportunity, and you're going to have the door shut in your face, fairly often, but just keep plugging. I mean, that's what we do at JCR, is just, got to keep going. So 33 races is a lot. So you got to, I'm still trying to fill up a few more cars this year, but there's some races that are just in markets that are just really hard to do. So, but you just do the best you can and go from there.
What's your hardest market?
Well, the ones that have primarily always, I mean, Portland is not an easy one. Portland, Oregon. I mean, I don't even know why we race there. It's ludicrous. It's the last year of a 3-year contract, I think. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after this year. Kansas has always been a difficult one. Dover, Pocono. So there's 3 or 4 markets which, you know, have room right now. Yep.
So if somebody wanted to, is watching tonight or knows somebody that's interested, how would they go about reaching out to you or Jeremy Clements Racing to get on board?
I mean, social media, just find me on there and figure out what your budget allows for and markets. And yeah, I mean, that's really what it is just figuring out what works for what that company can spend, and then finding a happy place on the car that works for them. But yeah, I mean, everything is getting pricier. It's crazy. I mean, just in the last couple of years, I've seen everything just almost double from, I mean, just everything, just fuel, pit crews, everything is just skyrocketed. So yeah, we definitely have to have full cars of sponsors before we go to these races, or it's going to be, you know, it's always challenging. We don't have those large budgets like some, but I mean, we damn sure make the best of what we have. So.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, I can't remember who we were talking to, said that, they were talking on the way out to Portland last year about how much money it was costing just in fuel and like the travel expense just to get the hauler and the cars there and back was almost more than what it was to actually race the car.
Well, the fuel was $7,000 in fuel, and it's the lowest paying purse in Xfinity. So make sense.
That's crazy.
Distance to get to a race, and they pay the worst. So yeah, that's why hopefully I think for no one will shed a tear if after this year that's completely gone, but we'll see. Yeah,
they can move that race back to Road America.
I know you're preaching to the choir there. I don't get that at all. Yeah,
I don't get that, and I don't get getting rid of Mid Ohio.
That's another track too, Mid Ohio,
Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to drive an hour to a race, but they've taken everything away from me. Kentucky, Mid Ohio, everything. So
yeah,
they just don't want me to be close, but that's all right.
So Ricky Randall says, I just tell them to call Steve. Y'all hit on the head. Love the small business on the cars. It's cool that we have local businesses each week.
Yeah, Ricky's been awesome, man. I talked to one of his employees, Jared Groot, a while back, who we've always been buds, and then Jared said, "Let me talk to Rick and see what we got." So yeah, he's been a staple with us for years now. He's really enjoyable, very helpful. So yeah, we've got like just the small businesses we have. It's just such a quality group, as well as our primary sponsors. Just everybody, once they come on board, they're pretty much there for good. You know, it's just a group that just really has a lot of fun together.
You know, I think a lot of it has to do with the small business and the small independent race team. Everybody gets it. They're like on the same level. They're all, you know, fighting the big guy or whatever. And they're all, you know, they understand. So they all want to work together, make the best of what they have. And I mean, Jeremy has been, other than his bad luck last year, he's been really competitive. You know, obviously he's coming just last week a P6, which unbelievable at Atlanta. It worked out awesome. You know, Mark called a great race. Richard, his spotter, worked him through the mess, and you know, Jeremy drove his ass off, and you know, it was just, it's good to see that finally that bad juju or whatever you want to call it left last week. So
yeah, but it's also funny that we have, you know, the majority of our schemes have blue in it, and I mean we're about as blue collar as you can get as far as a team. I mean you've got everything from small truck dealers to automotive repair shops to garage door I mean, you don't see mom and pop companies on the side of, you know, your bigger scale team. So we do a hell of a good job with what we have as far as partners. We just got good, hardworking companies on the side of the car every week. So enjoy that part of it for sure.
And I probably shouldn't call them sponsors. I should probably call them partners, because truly that's exactly what they are. Is they're partnering to make, you know, working together to make the team better, and also to, you know, bring exposure to their company too. So
yeah, no, I would agree with you. We just need to fill the cars up. We've got a few more. I've got to get back to work on filling these cars up for the rest of the year, because we've got a few that are kind of bare other than the primaries. So it just makes me go to work harder, you know, throughout the day. Like I told Jeremy in the beginning, I work at a desk, man. I don't mind, you know, going 60-40, you know, because my line of work, I can dive into something. I'm so ADD, I'm in it and then out of it and then on to the next. So I can go from a big business call to trying to sell sponsorship to back to, I'm just constantly shuffling. So I just have a lot of fun with it. Like I said, when I can tell him that we've got so-and-so lined up for this race or that race, that's what the feel good part of it is for me.
So I'm gonna get ready to show some pictures, but Mark Nelson just said no one works harder than Steve in bringing on sponsors for the 51 team Heart and Soul group.
Oh, yeah, he's a good dude, man. Every one of I was very kind to Mark. I mean, everybody has their hand in that some way, some form or fashion. Mark is probably one of the nicest guys I know, and always been helpful to me. So yeah, we're just gonna keep grinding, man. We're a refuse to lose type group of people, and I like having this additional help with Hendrick this year. That certainly is gonna bump us up where we need to be, you know, at a lot more races this year. So that was a really interesting tour. We took a Hendrick just before the season started, just to see the operation they have is incredible. I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, there's the floors you could eat off of, and all the people there are just so professional. So it's really nice to have that alliance with them this year too.
So with that alliance, besides the engines, from what I've been listening to, like on race day on the scanner, Mark is getting feedback. Mark Setzer, the crew chief, is getting feedback from Hendrick's engineers about fuel mileage and other stuff with the engine and that type of stuff. Are you aware of like any other, besides just the engine alliance? Are they giving them any other help with that program?
Yeah, there's definite banter back and forth between Hendrick and Mark and Jeremy and what. I mean, when you make that kind of an investment on 20 some races, they're going to give you you know, a lot of information, and they are giving us parts. They're giving us a lot of parts and pieces this weekend for our race. We don't have an engine, but they're certainly giving us a lot of things that we need to help ourselves out with speed this weekend. So we don't have the engine, but I mean, we've just, for instance, Texas last year, we didn't have an engine and we were running 6th before we got, I think, taken out. So, I mean, I think that certainly all the help from Hendrick, with or without the engine, is certainly going to make big strides for us this year. Yeah.
So
yeah, I was super excited when I saw that post, and I know Bobby was as well, because we've talked about it. But that it was very evident at Daytona. Even Mark and even Richard, his spotters, said that you could see Jeremy on his own run up to the back bumper of a car in front of him and actually suck up to it without having to be pushed to it. So, I mean, that was really good to see.
Yeah, I think years past at Daytona, um, he would have lost the draft. A few different situations in Daytona, but because of that horsepower, was able to, certainly stay towards catch up or just stay hang on. Whereas years past, it probably wouldn't have worked out that way. So yeah, it's a whole different ball game this year. So I think everybody's really excited. This sixth place finish really just kind of, if anything, it just gets that luck turned around, because last year I think everybody as a whole was just waiting, what's next, what's next. But this year, I think everybody's just feeling better. It's only 2 races in, but I just feel like the vibe is so much different than years past. Because I mean, the list of things. I remember like 22 when we did Mid Ohio, and on the pace laps, he had an electrical failure in the ignition or something, just on the pace laps. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, we can't even start this race. So I think every one of these partners have had one or two things throughout when their company is on the car, just have luck. Like, oh my gosh, we've all just had that upside down stomach feeling, that just sick as all can because of something that happened. But I think we're going to have a much better situation this year, knock on wood.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean,
even
he
gonna
was
lie.
doing. Sorry,
I'm
Bobby, go
not
ahead.
even gonna lie. When he was running, when that caution came out, I think my heart sank a little bit, because I was like, is he gonna run out? Is he not gonna run out? Because I heard over the scanner that he was running out. So I'm like, oh great, he's gonna run out, and we're gonna finish like 20th or 30th. And
Yeah,
then
that call by Mark to get 4 tires right there at the very end was huge.
right, and then he comes whipping through the field,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, I didn't mean field or tires. I meant for him to come in and get gas there with that before that last caution.
Yeah.
That was crucial.
I think he restarted P13, P14,
Yeah,
12.
and just in those 3 laps, he ends up, P6, and he would have got higher if it wasn't for another one of the cars running out of gas in front of him that slowed him down a little bit.
yeah, yep.
So, but yeah, that was definitely, I was, the same thing. I'm watching on the NASCAR app and the fuel gauge and everybody's fuel, and I'm like, these guys are crazy. And I'm like, when Mark came in, I'm like, that it was brilliant.
Yeah,
These guys are definitely running out of fuel.
yeah, that was a good call.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of calls you don't, a lot of things you don't realize how good of a call they are until it all plays out, and you're like, okay, that was really cool. So
Yep.
All right, Steve, we're gonna let you tell us about these pictures.
this was right before he got in the car and qualified 7th. That was a couple Saturdays ago. That was a good time. That was before it started just downpouring.
That was at Daytona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our baby for this weekend.
I love the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all of us as a whole are just committed to chrome numbers now. I mean, I just can't see ever going back to just normal numbers. I mean, it just gives it so much more of a little swag feel to it.
So who was the one that came up with the idea to go to the chrome numbers? If you know.
I know the first race not the first race, that it was white numbers, but I think 22 we started chrome, and I don't know if we followed someone. But I know as soon as we did ours, there were several others after. We tried those hologram numbers, which NASCAR pulled off our car at Martinsville.
Yep.
So that kind of looks like hologram there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we go back to those? Because those are cool.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a staple now with everybody as far as chrome numbers, because it just makes it look so much nicer.
Well, it pops. It looks so much, like you said, so much nicer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even a given with Maselli now. Yeah,
And speaking of another good partner, that guy is unbelievably talented, great guy. And in my opinion, like I even said on the show when we had him on, he knocks the out of the park on his designs. I mean, I think, in my opinion, and I'm obviously biased, that I think Jeremy has the best looking cars every week.
yeah, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
feel the same. I think our paint schemes, I mean, at least people tell us that we have some of the best paint schemes in the garage on Saturdays. So, I mean, that's all you can do. Just try to make them look as good as you can. And we've always got people changing things up with Maselli, so it's good job security for him. But yeah, we have a good time. I think that's another thing when you're talking about just the fun of all of this is just aside from everything else that goes into the race weekend and the prep, just the way that you can create the car you want it to be. It's a lot of fun. And I think everybody that's with JCR has a lot of fun, whether it be Halloween cars or throwback cars or specific cars for specific races. I think we all just have a great time with it. And those are the two for this year. Yeah.
I had to share. I really like the Texas guy.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any pictures of it, but I got some horns and put them on there like Noah Gragson did on the front of his car one year.
I don't know if I have them, but I can hurry up and get them. It's not a big deal.
It just added a little more to it, a little more Texas. And then we've got some Texas sponsors on the car, so that makes it all the better. So again, talking back about specific sponsors for specific races, we've got some Texas sponsors on our car this year, so they'll be able to come out to the race and see everything. It'll be a good time.
So what was the inspiration for that car last year, that the Texas car?
Well, our corporate office moved from the state of Washington to Texas. So Jeff, the owner of our company, was really big on promoting a Texas car because of our new location. So we made sure to do it up with the bull and the horns and everything. So yeah, it worked out good. I don't know if we'll do that every year, but we certainly do it at least this year as well.
Yeah, it's a sharp looking car.
Thank you. Yeah, it catches eyes. I think Steve Letarte and them were commenting on the last race. It was race. So yeah, we just try to let them know we're there.
All right, so I'm gonna let you talk about these while I find that picture because I'm getting close.
So I don't know, back in the first year, not sure what made me think of it, but I'm like, we could, being in the heart of bourbon country, I said we could, start promoting NASCAR on these bourbon bottles. And so these were kind of a generic one. Just then I started getting into actually putting the logos on the car. And it's also a nice touch when either Jeremy or whoever the driver is of the specific bottle signs it. It's just it's a cool little niche that I found. And who doesn't like bourbon? So it's been a big hit. I mean, with Ben Rhodes, I just did 10 bottles for during the off season. I did 30 for Chase Briscoe, 30 for Greg Zipadelli, 30 for Ricky for winning the 500 last year. So, these drivers have just jumped all over it over the past few years. And it's a good memento for them to give to their crews, whether they want to drink it or, just put it on their mantle and look at it and remember. So it's been really good. There it is. Yeah, that was a nice little touch to it. So
And there's Jeff.
yeah, there's the owner of our company.
He was supposed to be on, but he had technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And then that was a big group that you guys had.
Yeah, that was our company deal last year, so we had a good time. Um, it's always good to have employees, and that's why when I'm talking to sponsors, I'll tell them like, look, we have 10 plus sponsors out to every race, or 10 plus guests out to every race. And once they get out there, it's really enjoyable for everybody. So yep. We had dinner the night before, so that was good. We always like that. We always got to have a good meal for Jeremy the night before a race.
So what I gotta ask, what's the best place to eat? Like what's your favorite?
Food wise, Texas is hard to beat. I mean, I'll tell you the best place, and we make it a staple in our trip every year. All of us partners is St. Elmo's in Indianapolis. Yeah, I'll literally be leaving Indianapolis after the race and be calling for the 364 days later for next year. I always book the reservation, and we'll book it at like 7 p.m. where it's prime time, where we're sitting next to Cup drivers, and RCR was next to us or Richard Childress was next to us last year, and I mean everybody around us is somebody, but I'll snag a table for 14 a year out, and but yeah, to answer your question, St. Elmo's is in fact I think we go both nights. Yeah, that was St. Elmo's. We'll go both nights.
So obviously living in Ohio, I've been to St. Elmo's once and it was absolutely amazing. So we were at the grocery store the other day and I seen the St. Elmo's rub for the steak and I looked at Adrian and I go, yep, it's time. I gotta get it.
Yeah, you got to get some of that cocktail sauce while you're at it too.
Ooh, that sounds good. I've never had that.
It'll clear out your sinuses, that's for sure.
So you got to meet your childhood idol?
Well, I didn't get to meet him. I mean, I've known him my whole life, and
Oh, okay.
we text all the time, but to actually like, you know, go on a trip with him, even in a small distance, just to have one-on-one time with him outside of a track for a while was really cool. So yeah, I've known Jeff since the 80s. Obviously, I was a kid back then, and I just was following him all over the country. And he obviously, after a while of seeing me at the races all the time, got my name. My dad knew him, and my dad and him raced together. So I kind of knew him early on, and he remembered my name. And then throughout the Navy, when I was in the Navy, I would travel to races throughout the country and our ship would pull into port and I would just get off the ship and go to wherever the race was. I don't care, 6, 10, 12 hours away, I'd be there. So it just got to, continue our relationship. And then I saw him back in 2021 and really got to, catch up with him. And we've just been talking every month or two since 2021, and here we are now. And that's why I just really, because I don't know how much longer, he's not getting younger, nor am I. So I just always try to keep in touch with him and do whatever I can for him. And I'm also going to help him in promoting this book here, because I know it means a lot to him. He put, I don't know, years of his life into this, so least I can do. He got in that car.
Really cool moment.
He damn sure didn't get out of that car easy. That took a toll on him getting out of that car. Oof. Yeah.
Did you both have to help him out?
He just needed time. He had to take his time, because that way that left pad comes around the helmet. There's not a lot of room. So yeah, it was fun getting in, but it wasn't fun for him getting out, but he made it. But that was a fun day. I had never ridden in the pace car. My wife and I rode in the pace car to start the race, so that was cool, looking out the back and seeing him there. And then just having Jeff there, I mean, it was just icing on the cake. And then Jeff came back to our hauler after the race and was signing all of our stuff. And Yeah, he signed. I had Jeff sign that fire suit before the race because I knew after the race I was getting it, so I wanted to make sure that I had his signature on it. So, yeah, that all worked out good.
Yeah, that, obviously everybody can see the fire suit in the background. And then is this the one you were talking? No, this is the Indy race, right?
Yeah, that was at Indy. I just try to do that when I don't have a lot of guests there. Like this week, I don't have any guests, so I'll probably just jump on the pit board and catch tires, just whatever I can do, because it's already a skeleton crew as it is for the guys. So they're scrapped. So if I could put an extra body there with them and just help catch tires on the front or back or wherever, I usually always try to do that. Just if there's not many guests that I have to entertain or people that I have to talk to, I'll just kind of do that just to help, which is a lot of fun. I mean, it's like a kid living a dream doing that. But yeah, it's always fun.
Now I have offered if I come to Michigan or anything like that to help out. What's it take to be able to do something like that? To be able to like help out, catch tires or whatnot?
Yeah, I don't know if they're just gonna let anybody, because I've been doing it for about 4 years now, 3 years, just here and there. But they've got an actual crew now. Back, it was a little bit scarce in the first few years. It's just as far as taking a full team from Penske or Trackhouse, and they'll implement them into Jeremy's team. So, yeah, it's not something where you can just go up and do it. That's probably not the case. But yeah, I mean, you just learn the system, learn where to be, where not to be. Yeah. Yep. Good crew, good bunch of guys we're with. We always have a good time when we go to the track.
Last picture I have is this one.
Yeah, I had those made. I had 30 bottles of bourbon made for Ricky, and then I had several of those bourbon barrel lids made. So yeah,
That's really cool.
I just like the uniqueness of different things to give people, as opposed to just, everything is the same in this industry as far as shirts, hats. It's just, sometimes it's nice to have just a little something different to present to somebody or provide.
So you mentioned your dad raced with Jeff Bodine. Where did your dad race, and what did he race?
I don't remember the exact class of vehicle, but it was in New York. That's where Jeff grew up, upstate New York. So my dad was good buddies with him at the Shangri-La Speedway. And yeah, they got to be on a first name basis. And then I would always introduce myself as Ron's son. And eventually he, obviously seeing me at 15 races a year as a teenager, and I would always sneak into the garage too. When I was younger, when I was traveling in the Navy, I would just weasel my way into the gate garage. And I was trying for the longest time to get a job in the sport just as a gopher, because I was going to all the Southeast races. So yeah, I would just weasel my way in there, and Jeff would always see me and we'd talk, and it's just been a long relationship where it's cool to just be able to just hang with him after following that dude for so long, and just watching the battles he had with Senior, and just to now be able to enjoy life, especially after, some of those accidents. You just thank God he's still here.
Thank you for your service also.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Speaking of Jeff, he just had a book that he wrote and released.
Yeah. Yep. I never keep it far away.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I one of those pictures that Bobby just showed with you and him in a vehicle together. I remember reading the post. You took him to a book signing event.
Yeah,
How,
yeah,
how was that?
that was cool. I mean, that was really, you're driving him there and we're talking, and it's like, is this just really happening? Like, it's one thing to just run into somebody and get an autograph, but he called me because my RV was close to his, and he said, "Would you mind taking me over to this book signing?" And I'm like, "Oh boy, let me think about that for a second. I'm not really sure." So jumped on that, loaded his truck up with books, and helped him set up, and then he had a successful day. So, but yeah, it's I'm looking forward to helping him out all I can this year with this book. So we'll see.
So
Sorry, I froze for a second. We're getting thunderstorms here.
yeah, I am too. So, um, I was gonna follow up. We were talking before we came on live that with Jeff's book, you were gonna
Yep.
do something special to help him promote his book, but also help Jeremy and his team. Are you willing to talk about that, or?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I'm going to do is for our Texas car, I'm going to do a book, I don't know, book promotion, I guess you call it. But anybody that purchases his book gets their name on the back of his car. Um, so I'm going to be putting that together this week, trying to figure out how to. I've got a couple people helping me on, implementing it. So, but that's the ultimate thing is I just want to help him sell as many books as he can. And then on the flip side, somebody can have their name on a card for a book purchase. So, not sure how it's going to work out. Not sure, you know, how many people are going to do it. I'm sure there's going to be several, but is it going to be too many? And then I'm going to be like, oh my God, what do I do with all these names? So I don't know, but I like those challenges. So we'll figure it out.
Well, and the good thing is you're also, by doing that, not only just helping Jeremy and Jeff, but you're also helping get that message out of Jeff's to help that history of racing live on that,
Right.
a lot of people don't know about. Is,
Right.
the younger generation now probably, has heard Jeff's name, but doesn't really know that part of the NASCAR history unless
Yeah.
they're a true diehard.
Yeah, they might be getting a book for the price of a ride along. So if they want to give it to someone else, and I just want to help him sell books, and that's the name of the game. So, but I think everybody will truly enjoy the book. I've read a lot of it, and it's really exciting, really cool stuff from his perspective. Yep.
Yeah, I started reading it and I really enjoy it so far.
Yeah, they spent several years writing it, so those things I can't imagine writing a book on just my ADD would be all over the place trying to. What did I say last? What's next?
So what's your favorite moments on and off the track?
Uh, gosh, I would say,
Besides Daytona.
yeah. I mean, that's everybody's. Yeah, that's easy. My favorite moments. Um, Probably going to Jeff Bodine's house as a kid was a cool moment for me. Um, when I was like in my teens, and he said, "Come on over to my house." I was like, "Cool." I used to be really tight with his parents. I mean, just like you guys, I would buy his whole entire souvenir stand. Like there wasn't anything I didn't have. Um, I would say most of my cool moments have come as much as I've watched racing over the years. My coolest moments have transpired in just the past 3 or 4 years. You know, I mean, just being a NASCAR fan my entire life, all the way up to 2019, going to 5 to 15 races a year, depending on the year. Um, but to have it all turn for full circle in the past 3 or 4 years, the moments nowadays are the moments that are the coolest to me. Yeah. Let's see. individual moments. Probably like when Jeff Bodine won in front of me in '86. That was really cool. Obviously, Jeremy winning. But I would say just how the most enjoyable part for me is not maybe specific races, but just in a nutshell, how these seasons go and how all of us will meet up for this race or that race, and we celebrate a top 10 together. Just some of the smaller stuff now is just as easy to enjoy as big memorable things. Just getting a bunch of our partners together and having some beer, tailgate, and laugh and joke and talk. That's the good stuff for me in this sport anymore.
I know I asked Ray this question. So what's it like in the day of you for race day? Like, or get it for the weekend? Like, obviously you drive the motorhome up. A lot of people fly. So like, how's your
Well, it just depends
process?
on if I've got who I've got with me. A lot of times, believe it or not, I like to travel just alone, and then I can do whatever I want and not have to entertain or things like that. Just really, I've got so many friends in the Cup Garage and Xfinity. I can just my normal day is just kind of catching up with people. When you're gone for a month or two from them, and then you get back together and you catch up with them about their families and everything. So that's really cool for me. Um, just being in the sport for long enough, there's zero need for autographs. There's zero need for a lot of the stuff that used to be that I needed. Now I don't have really even care about the autograph side of it. I'd rather just conversate with people and catch up more than anything anymore.
So I have one other question. And we were talking about you being a military veteran. You do giveaways, like giveaway tickets on social media for veterans, first responders. Um, why is that important to do this? And what are the benefits of it?
There's no benefit on my side. I mean, the benefit would be just trying to help somebody, go to a race that normally wouldn't be able to go to a race. So yeah, I try to do at least 4 or 5 ticket giveaways a year just to first responders or military guys, just as a thank you for your service, just like people say the same to me. Um, there's several organizations out there like Vet Ticks and stuff like that do that stuff. But when I get a set of tickets, I'll just put them on Twitter and see who would like to go to a race. My boss Jeff has always been a big pay it forward guy, and I just feel like it's kind of really rubbed off on me in the last 20 years of working there. So yeah, I just enjoy it. I enjoy giving.
Well, we appreciate
Yeah.
everything you do.
Yeah, same. I was just going to say that I'm a medically retired law enforcement officer, and when I first saw your post, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I really appreciate him doing this for first responders and military and the veterans. So
yeah, they go hand in hand. NASCAR has always been a big proponent of military, and so I always just try to keep that front and center.
Well, I don't want to hold you up too much more because I know how busy you are. Thank you for coming on and joining us on the podcast tonight.
Absolutely, you guys. Thanks for what you're doing. I appreciate it. You guys you're doing good things.
Thank you very much.
thank you. We really appreciate it. Hopefully,
No
we'll see you at a track sometime soon.
Yeah, let's keep in touch. Appreciate it.
Sounds good.
All right, bye.
Good
Bye.
luck.
Take care.
All right. Episode 10, Rob.
It's crazy. 10
just
episodes
that,
in.
man.
And we didn't
So-
have any technical difficulties on our end today.
No, we just had we had Jeff who couldn't make it due to the internet issues. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on sometime soon. Next week will be episode 11, March 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. our guest will be Tate of Alliance Driveway Solutions and Jason from Impel Union. Looking forward to talking to them. Obviously, want to talk to them about Chicago and the first race in Chicago and the rain and all that good stuff. Want to thank, like I said, Steve for coming on. A lot of knowledge between him and everything he does. Want to give a shout out to our sponsors: First Pacific Funding, Spartan Waste, Beach Ridge Barbershop, Impel Union, Alliance Driveway Solutions, Elite Towing and Recovery, Whitetail Smokeless, Driftless Glen, Fly Informed Concrete Structures. Can't thank Jeremy Clements enough. Without them, this doesn't happen. We appreciate everything, Jeremy and the race team, Matt Man Designs, and our guest that we were supposed to have last week, but we had technical difficulties. I had no internet. Runner's Roost, can't thank them enough. So with that being said, episode 10 is in the books, and we will see you guys next Tuesday at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central. Y'all have a good night, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining in. See you, everybody.